The Ghana Tourism Authority today embarked on an exercise to make sure that the 1% tourism levy by tourism centers are being paid. Before we stepped out, the head of corporate affairs, that is Jones Aruna Nelson, educated us on what the exercise was all about.
This morning we are embarking on a simple exercise to clamp down on facilities that have not paid the 1% tourism levy. You know that every year we ensure that standards are adhered to. So one of the ways is to collect our license fees and all that. But this one is specifically for the 1% non-payment of the 1% tourism levy. We are ensuring that patrons of tourism facilities pay so that we can get resources to also help the tourism industry.
And then the project coordinator, Akosia, also added up on the education.
Originally, we were looking about somewhere around 300,000, but we've been able to retrieve some so far from the exercise we had in December. So currently, we are looking at almost 200,000 now, which are still in arrears. So we are hoping that with this exercise, we'll be able to retrieve all those outstanding levies. Yeah.
How much is an individual establishment supposed to pay? Is it per...
What you are supposed to pay is based solely on your sales, on your revenue, because it depends on the number of people who patronize your service and the amount of sales you make. So it's more like you pay as you earn. So it's 1%. So you cannot have a fixed amount. So if you are making, say, 100,000, it corresponds to 10,000. So you don't have a fixed amount of levy for an enterprise to pay. It depends on the amount of sales. So if at a particular month you don't make any sales, you don't have any levy to pay.
So does it mean you go through their books with them?
Yes, we do audits. We do audits and monitoring to be sure of whatever payments that have been made. And then if we establish that there is a gap, so assuming you are supposed to pay 1,000 Ghana cedis based on the audit and you pay short, then we'll notify you that at the end of the audit, you have, let's say, 200 or 500 cedis short. We give you time to pay. And then if you elapse or the deadline is exceeded, then we can take the necessary action.
We went to 5 tourism centers. Baritas was the first stop. Well, Baritas owed 31,000 Ghana cedis, and on arrival, they signed 2 checks for the team. From there, we went to Taiba. Taiba, ever since their inception in 2019, have never even given up their books for auditing, let alone to know how much they owe. Well, the place was closed down. We also went to Somo Hotel. Well, Somo Hotel also was closed down. And Akosia gave us the reasons why these 2 places were closed down.
Okay, so we were here last year. Okay. To conduct our usual monitoring exercise, but we were not given the audience. As at 2019, they were owing 2,422 cedis, 58 pesos.
That is Suma Court Hotel.
Court Hotel, yes. Okay. And they've not even given us the opportunity to audit again to know what really is there. And since 2019, they have not made any payments with regards to tourism levy. And the owner claims that the government gave an instruction that the hotels in Ghana should be closed, but I don't think that is true.
No directive like that has hit your office?
The hotel should be closed? No. Okay. I know within the COVID season there were some restrictions, but those restrictions have been lifted long ago. So if there is anything, he needs to come to the office, submit the books. If indeed he was closed down, the books don't lie, we'll know. And then whatever is due for him to pay, he should pay it. And then.
But have you given them a notice that an exercise like this was going on? Have you given them a chance to at least redeem themselves or pay something?
So from even what they owed as far back as 2019 hasn't been paid. Last year we wrote to them twice, trying to get an audit conducted, but either of them we didn't get the opportunity to audit. So we don't need to give anything else.
I saw you close down Taiba too. What is the issue with Taiba?
So with Taiba, it's a similar issue. We've tried since 2019 to do an audit. They've not paid anything with regards to tourism levy till now, as in they've not remitted their levy from 2019 since they were certified to date. Last year, I can talk of last year because that's the most recent attempt we tried. That was 2 times we wrote to them On several occasions, our officers went to them and they did not give us audience. So we just want them to provide the information that we requested for in the 2 letters we wrote to them last year. We conduct the audit. Whatever is outstanding, they make those payments, and then we are good to go.
We then went to the Perry Hostel. Well, on arrival at the Perry Hostel, we were made to know that the person who got the information did not relay to the owner of the hostel. So the owner of the hostel, who lives in Kumasi, promised that he will come to the office at the Ghana Tourism Authority anytime he comes to Accra and make the payment. We finally ended up at the African Regent Hotel. Well, at the African Regent Hotel, the accountant was met with the team. They gave up their books. Auditing was done. At the African Regent Hotel, the team met with the accountant and they went through their books and finally came to the knowledge that an amount was owed to the Ghana Tourism Authority. Well, the 4 signatories to the account made an undertaking to the Ghana Tourism Authority team that within 24 hours, whatever amount owed will be paid.
It has brought some sanity into that space. I think it has brought some sanity into that space. But if God speaks to the prophet and he doesn't have the boldness to say it, then I'm bothered. Because if God speaks to you, you must be bold enough to say it. You might say it and not get protected by God. It doesn't mean that God has said it, and so once you go and say it out there, you won't go to jail. God might leave you to go to jail because maybe he wants to go and preach in the jail there or something.
Wow.
All right. So it's okay. If God says it, you should say it. There's no law in the land, so to speak. There isn't one single law that says you can't prophesy in church. I think the IGP is just using another law to try and stifle this. It says don't create fear and panic. Right? Then let's catch every single doctor who said that you get COVID because we're creating fear and panic. People fear, people they buy nose masks, will get business from nose masks because they were creating fear and panic. There's no law that he can stand on to say this one says you cannot prophesy in church. No.
I thought, the reference was what would actually, a lot of times some of these prophecies,
The death.
It scares people, their families, those who rely on them for their livelihood. It's like, so they say, you know what? If you got it, this is what I got. If you think you got it,
Go tell the person.
Go tell the person. I mean, the spirit of the Lord is subject to the prophet, isn't it?
Yeah, but there are times God will say it in the church. There are times God will say, fine, go. But there are times God will say it now. Say it here and now. Yes. Because sometimes you didn't get access to the person. Is a problem.
So, you are admonishing those who think that God said they should say it now to say it.
And so if God says say it, who am I? Yeah, if you are saying God says it.
Say it and let's see what IGP will do. See what to do. That's his advice. Yeah.
Evangelism, the devil doesn't fear evangelism. The devil doesn't care who you tell about Jesus. The devil doesn't care who receives Jesus. The problem is discipleship. After they receive Jesus, what happens? So if you just preach and they go away, the devil will just take them right back. Sometimes the seeds are sown. Yes, other people will water. God will bring the increase. But the devil fears when you now follow a man through and tell him, yo, do this, do that, do, and that's what I think we are missing with Moisha. I don't know too much in that space, but I think that she just needs somebody to actually hold her hand and take her through before she begins to tell people about Jesus, because you must know enough to be able to speak. Paul said, when I got that encounter, I didn't even confer with the young men in Jerusalem. I went into the deserts of Arabia. When John the Baptist came, he came from God. It was a man sent from God whose name was John. When he came, the Bible says he went into the wilderness. There always has to be a point where you go for training and for refining to be able to come back and give the adequate kind of message to people.
Right.
So at that time, her cousin had brought home cigarettes, and so she had to get me initiated into the tigari. Why? For protection. Right.